There's nothing really more soul-crushing than something you loved from your childhood not living up to that expectation. Sure, there's probably other things like, you know, war and poverty and beheadings, but for me, it's a childhood cartoon not living up to the standards that I have bestowed upon it through nostalgic haze of member berries. And that's kind of the case with Beast Wars. Released in 1996, I never got to watch a ton of the show growing up. It was more or less I had a lot of the toys, especially like the McDonald's Beast Wars toys. And so I've always had like a fond memory of that. I think there's a video game of it too. It's like maybe like a fighting game or something, or am I like confusing it with Primal Rage? I don't know. But regardless, I always had fond memories of Beast Wars because it was Transformers, but animals. So it's cooler. Like, who doesn't like animals over cars? So when I was in Half Price Books and I found 2 VHS copies of Beast Wars on VHS tape, obviously, I guess, I had to pick them up because I was like, all right, cool, it's time to relive childhood. Now, going into these, I thought these were actually like movies, because they have a runtime of like an hour and 45 minutes. One of them is even like a feature-length adventure. No, these are collections of episodes from the show, and they have no rhyme or reason, really. I guess with Beastie's Escape, the theme is they escape from something. I guess that's what the theme is. But for the other one, like, I guess it's just episodes that run up to an hour 45, and they were like, yep, we can ship this off. Now, the Beast Wars feature film, if you will, is 5 episodes basically smushed together where we get kind of introduced to what's going on in the story. The story is basically when the Autobots and the Decepticons are fighting in space, they crash land on this planet where they use their scan that they normally like pick up cards and stuff to find their fursonas, if you will. This is a bunch of furries. That planet, though, happens to be an abundance of energons, which is the thing that they're always after. And now the Autobots become the Maximals, and the Decepticons become the Predacons. What a terrible name. And this is pretty much the origins of the Beast Wars. Optimus Prime's like, Beast Wars! And Megatron becomes a T-Rex in this show, which is hilarious because, like, yeah, T-Rexes are big and scary, right? But normally when you see a T-Rex, they don't use their little arms. However, Megatron uses his little arms all the time, and it undermines him as a threat so much because it's so goofy looking. Yes. What's up? What's up? Oh, I don't have lights on. Hold. Gotta have the fancy streamer lights, right? What's up? Welcome back to some more Magic the Gathering. Today we're jumping into the foyer of Modern, which isn't something I do very often here recently. I normally just kind of all in Pauper, but I am practicing for a Modern tournament I'll be going to in August at the Apex Gaming Series. They are having me come out to do the tournament, so I'm really excited about that. And if you want to check out the Apex Gaming Series, you can follow them on Twitter and everything. They're doing a 5K Modern tournament that's not like a super far drive for me, and then they're also doing the following day a 2K Pioneer tournament. So I want to do some Modern practicing here, and one of my favorite decks of all time in Modern is 8-Rack. It's the Rack. Obviously we're not really an 8-Rack deck here. I'm just calling it that because that's kind of what this deck is, but we're kind of just the Rack. We're not playing Shrieking Afflictions, we're not playing Davriel, or however you say its name, we're playing the Rack. So what are we doing with this deck? Well, what we're doing is controlling our opponent's hands and making them play in top deck mode the entire time while trying to punch in face with Urza Saga tokens or the Rack finishing them off. That's pretty much it. It's a pretty straightforward deck in a way that relies heavily on knowing the meta, which is something that I'm not well versed in right now. It's been over a year since I've played a game of Modern, and the last time I did was the Rack, and I went 2-1, or was it 3-1 at an F&M with it. But I've been out of Modern for quite a while, so this is going to be a little bit of foyer. I'm going to try some Rack variations, a Rock variation, and then going to do some Dredge. Gonna be late to stream, have a meeting. We'll watch tonight though. We'll be watching though. Yeah, White Lotus. Enjoy your meeting. Hopefully your meeting is nice and smooth for you. So yeah, it's a little bit of a venture away from Pauper, but still gonna be doing a lot of Pauper. But I'm gonna put in some Modern and maybe some Pioneer here in the future. just as a heads up. But let's talk about what we're doing. Well, so our mana base is we have one Castle Lothwain. Castle Lothwain enters the battlefield tapped unless you control Swamp. It taps for black mana, and then you can tap 3 and it to draw a card. Then you lose life equal to the number of cards in your hand. It's good to just... The thing is we go in top deck mode too, and this just allows us to try to churn through the deck a little bit better. We have 2 Mishra's Factories, which could probably go up to 4. This is a little bit older of a variant list. I made a little bit of changes to it, and honestly, I thought there was 4 here, but we probably want to go up to 4 here. It becomes a 2/2 self-assembler creature that is still an artifact. I mean, it's still land, and you can tap it, and a target assembly worker gets +1/+1 at end turn. The cool thing is you can activate this as a creature and tap itself after blocks to turn into a 3/3. So that's really cool. You can also pump other ones, and when you turn it into a creature, you pump your Urza Saga tokens. 3 Nurturing Peatlands as just a nice little cycle draw card. 10 Swamps, 4 Urborg Tomb of Yagmoth, and 4 Urza Sagas. Urza Saga is just an insanely powerful card and a good addition for the deck. With our Urza Saga, we can get up a couple 1-drop artifacts, including Expedition Map to find another Saga, or Mishra's Factory, whatever we need. Nile Spellbomb if we need some graveyard hate. Pithing Needle if we need some Planeswalker hate. And then the Rack, which is one of our win cons. So what we're doing with this deck is we're attacking our opponent's hand and their game plan. We're trying to disrupt their game plan to turn them into top deck mode, and then the Rack closes the game out for us, as when it enters the battlefield, you choose an opponent. At the beginning of the upkeep, the Rack deals X damage to that player, where X is 3 minus the number of cards in their hand. So if they have 3 cards in their hand, it does 0 damage. 2, it does 1 damage. 1 card in hand, it does 2 damage. 0 cards in hand, it does 3. You get multiple of these effects. You can close a game out super quick. It's also worth noting that it is a lose ability, not a does damage to. Oh no, it deals X damage. Maybe the other ones lose. I don't know. I can't remember. Anyway, 4 Fatal Pushes to kill off small critters. 2 Funeral Charms. The last time I played this, Ragavan was a problem, and Funeral Charm was a nice, clean way to kill Ragavan. 4 Inquisition of Kozilek's. 4 Raven's Crime. 4 Thoughtseize. 4 Smallpox. 4 Wrench Mines. 1 Dismember, and 4 Liliana of the Veils as just our package. Every card we are attacking our opponent's hand, or trying to interrupt what they're doing on the battlefield with cards like Smallpox. Now, the last time I played this, Smallpox wasn't the greatest with Urza Saga, and I'm just curious to see if that's still going to be the case here with Smallpox, so we'll have to see. Wrench Mine also wasn't the best last time I played it, just because of the amount of artifacts that was running around, so we'll see about that. Sideboard-wise, we have Break the Ice. Some of the worst matchups for this deck is the Cascades, graveyard like strategies, and excuse me, and Tron. Those are some of the worst decks for us to play against. Break the Ice, pretty good for Tron. We have Collective Brutality for burn matchup. We have Leyline of the Void for graveyard stuff. We have 2 Ratchet Bombs, which is really, really good against decks that are running Chalice, token decks, a lot of go wide decks. A thing that this deck has a problem with is go wide strategies. I used to run Bontu's Last Reckoning main deck, so we'll see. But go wide strategies is really rough for this deck to deal with, and also it cleans up the Rhino tokens really nicely. Then we also have Void Mirror to pretty much try to put a stop to Tron, or to put a stop, if we can, or put a stop to Rhinos. Now the last thing on the sideboard is from the new set, Orcish Bowmasters. Sorry, I need a drink there. Orcish Bowmasters is a new card that is a 2-drop, 1/1 flash Orc Archer that when it enters the battlefield, or whenever an opponent draws a card except for the first one, they draw each of their draw steps. It deals 1 damage to any target, then amass 1 orcs. This card is a Slayer of Ragavan. You flash this in with a Ragavan, you kill the Ragavan, and you get 2 bodies on the field. Not only that is, this card could also be really good against the new Ring card that's floating around that is really popular right now. that allows them to draw a bunch of cards, it can really punish them for drawing cards. So, and I also think this is a card we bring in against any deck that can draw a lot of cards, because we don't want our opponents to draw a lot of cards. Expressive Iterations is really strong against this deck. So, you know, those are things to keep an eye out for. So that's what we're doing in this deck. Let's do some testing and see what happens. Let's see what happens here. Pulling up a Word doc because I kind of want to keep a little bit of a idea of what we're doing. Now, typically with Smallpox, you want to go second. You don't really want to be on the play because we're a 1-for-1 attrition deck. And so the idea is your opponent, you get a card up on them by the draw, they go down a card, but then you kind of catch back up with Smallpox. That's kind of what the game plan is. So we'll see. It's been a long time since I played Modern, and it's been a long time since I played the Rack. So we'll see how this runs here. But this has always been my one of my favorite Modern decks of all time. This is a Mulligan. Wow, I just keep getting nothing but Urza Sagas. Mulligan again. I guess we're going to 5, which is not good for us because we don't have a lot of draw power in this deck. So you really don't like to go below, especially below 5, but you really don't like to mulligan that much with this deck. But you got to have mana to play the game, right? Our opponent's deciding if they want to try to mulligan to 5. They kept, I mean, we're going to 5. Not in love with this hand either, but I don't think we can go down anymore. So I'm going to keep this, bottom the rack so we can fetch it up with Saga, and then bottom the other Funeral Charm. And we're going to hope that this Inquisition of Kozilek is kind of strong. They lead on Ragavan, I just Funeral Charm it. I wish we get another land, though, before we try to play this Urza Saga. I want to turn 3 Urza Saga into Liliana, is what I want to do. And then we can just start making our tokens from there. Okay. I've not seen Affinity, I take it. Yep. I've not seen like Affinity like this in a long time. Is that back on the uptick here? Esper Sentinel, maybe? Hammer Time. Okay, so no, Hammer Time is also really bad for us. We did get Fatal Push, though. I'm going to Inquisition them. Let's Inquisition here and see what they got. They have Hammer. The thing that sucks is they got Saga, so they can just start Sagaing out tokens here. Our opponent is in top deck mode, I guess, for what it's worth. But I would like to draw another land. Another thing too is we're playing 24 lands because we want to draw lands after we Raven's Charm. We basically want to have 4 lands in play, 3 to 4 lands in play the entire game, and then all the other lands we just it's not very exciting. Urza Saga. I wish you were something else. Maybe if we get lucky. I'm hoping they don't top deck a land here. Damn it. Because that means they would have to tap Mem Knight to get a token. Which is what I'd rather happen. I'm probably just going to Funeral Charm. You know what? I think I'm just going to take this Mem Knight. Want to end step, fatal push their token here. Because we can make our own. The problem is they're just going to fetch up. Play Yagmoth here. I don't think if we Pithing Needle, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think if we Pithing Needle Colossus Hammer it matters. I don't think it does anything. Let's see what they do here. Whenever an equipment enters battlefield under control. So I think they have to target, right? Did that screw up the the angel, the aid? Does, doesn't it? Cool. All right, cool. They're down to one card here. I don't think I care to actually make a... I'm not going to make a token here. I'm not going to make a construct. I'm going to fetch up the rack. Let's lead on Thoughtseize here. Our opponent's laughing at us because we Thoughtseed them. I don't care, dude. Could be an off chance that we that they don't get a artifact. I think the Liliana is probably gonna die either way. Maybe I should have killed the construct there. Yeah, maybe I should have killed the construct there because they activate Yagmoth next. It dies either way, but they would be down a creature. So maybe the right play there was to kill the construct. I think it was. Well, I kind of forgot about in that decision that I made there to make them discard Ganjo. I kind of forgot about Yagmoth Nexus being a creature, even though my original play was, well, if I make them sack this, then then they just attack with Yagmoth Nexus, and then I lose Liliana anyway. So I was like, well, if I plus up Liliana and they discard that, then the construct can't kill the Liliana, and I just totally blanked on they could tap the Yagmoth Nexus to kill Liliana. So that was a bad play on my end. So That was a huge misplay. But that's what we're testing, right? Yep. Kind of figured that's what happened. Um, what do we want for the sideboard in this matchup? Orcish Bowmaster seems kind of good here. Like, honestly. So does Break the Ice. And potentially Ratchet Bomb. So we have some good sideboard stuff here. Ornithopter. Another Yagmoth Nexus. That's kind of gross. We're definitely going to be on the back foot of these Yagmoth Nexuses. I think I'm just going to take this shot here from them. Because the Yagmoth Nexus is only doing infect damage. Create a construct of our own. Liliana's cool. But not like super duper cool. We're just going to fetch up another rack here. We're going to close their clock a little bit. And I think we can go ahead and attack with our 4/4 because I feel like they need a block. Because they're going to take 6 on their upkeep. The next turn we just drop Liliana, start plussing her up. Shield through turn. We have a lot of good cards in the sideboard for him, but we have a lot of like decent stuff main deck. So like I don't know how much we want to go down. They're also in a position where they probably don't attack with this construct. And I guess it depends on what they get. If they get the 2/2 that just they're not attacking you with Yagmoth Nexus, cool. I think we just win the game then. Oh yeah, totally. I'm not even gonna attack here. I'd rather just keep our 4/4s on the field. Well, if we attack, they have to chump with both, right? Or they just lose to the rack on the upkeep. They're basically trying to top deck their card that allows them to equip Colossus Hammer for free. But in this attack, they have to block with an Yagmoth Nexus. Jeezy Pete's. They still have to block with one of them, though. Like, they don't lose our construct token. but I'm like 99% sure we just win the game. Unless they top deck something crazy, like a Shadow Spear. It'd be pretty rough. Maybe we shouldn't attack there, but I still like the idea of killing off some Yagmoth Nexus. That is such a hard card for me to say. They're going to go to 3. So Wrenchmine's coming out. I'm not opposed to Smallpox in this matchup at all. All right, we got there. Even though we had some bad misplays, we got there. I kind of like Orcish Bowmasters quite a bit here, honestly. I also like Break the Ice. I also like Ratchet Bomb quite a bit. Wrenchmine 100% comes out. I like and I don't like Smallpox all at the same time. You know what I mean? But Smallpox can be really punishing for them. Thoughtseize isn't as exciting in this matchup. Neither is Spellbomb. I don't think. Could be wrong there. Pithing Needle I want to, but the problem... Okay, hold on. Aid and Pithing Needle. Somebody has to have asked this question before. Of the name card. So Sigarda's... Yeah, so with Sigarda's Aid, Pithing Needle doesn't do anything. But we could Pithing Needle Stoneforge Mystic. So I like leaving the 1 of Pithing Needle in the deck. I'm going to go down 2 Thoughtseize. I still like Dismembered. Go down a Liliana. Maybe I'm going to go down 2 Lilianas here. And 1 Expedition map. Try it like that. We still got there against Hammer Time with a Maul to 5 and some bad misplays. And I don't feel like they had like a horrendous hand either. We just had good pieces to interact with them there. I don't know how good Orcish Bowmasters is really going to be in this matchup, but I feel like it can't be that bad to kill like the Yagmoth Nexus and stuff like that on activation. Also kills Memnite really well. Damn, that 1 land hand again. 24 lands. Yeah, I want everything here, but we got to mulligan this. All right, this is better. Keep this hand. I'm going to bottom the rack. And we can lead on Inquisition or Fatal Push, whichever we feel like we need. Esper Sentinel. Esper Sentinel's pretty annoying. We need to kill Esper Sentinel right out of the gate. It's a really strong card against us. If we had Orcish Bowmasters, I probably wouldn't have done that. I probably would have just Inquisition them. The reason why I Funeral Charmed over Fatal Push is Funeral Charm's more situational, where Fatal Push is a little bit more direct. They get Cauldron complete? Yeah, no. No. we're going to fatal push that now. And then Inquisition you. All right. Colossus, Pierce. Probably got to take the Paladin here. They top deck. I'm just trying to think. They top deck a land. We're too slow with Ratchet Bomb for Pierce Stem Paladin. We have the chance to potentially get Cauldron's Complete out of hand or kill the Stoneforge. Both, like, yeah, a lot of these cards are really strong against us. But I think the Pierce Stem Paladin leads to our death a lot quicker. Because I imagine they go Stoneforge Mystic here. If they didn't get a land, then I would have liked to have killed the... I would have liked to have taken the Stoneforge Mystic more. But the fact that we don't know what they got, you know what I mean? Makes me want to not do this line of play. We have double Raven's Crime, which is good, but it's not that exciting because they just get rid of Steel Shaper's Gift. They get a Shadow Sphere, we get a Factory. So the problem 100% is they're going to get this Cauldron Complete down. Which really sucks. Yeah, that's what I kind of figured. We don't have a good way to kill this Cauldron Complete at all. So we're in bad shape here. I don't know why they don't just Cauldron Complete here. The other thing is Dismember does kill this thing pretty nicely, but we got to find it. There's only a one of Dismember. This Ratchet Bomb is going to be way too slow for Cauldron Complete. I actually think the only card we have main deck that deals with this is indeed Dismember. So like we have to like top deck Dismember like right this second. Liliana's not that good. Liliana is actually a pretty bad draw right now. I guess we can blow up the Germ token, right, with Ratchet Bomb? Am I right about that? No, because it's indestructible. So no, we can't. This is all I got. This is all I got. I mean, Ratchet Bomb would work if the token didn't get indestructible because of Culture Complete, which is why Dismember would work. No, go away. I'm trying to look at my sideboard here. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. No, not really. I guess we could bring back in Thoughtseize to try to steal the Culture Complete. It's something we could do. We have 3 turns to find Dismembered. I mean, that's basically all it is. Unless they attack the Lily here, which is very possible, but we have 3 turns to find Dismembered or we lose the game. Because Ratchet Bomb will clean up some of the Urza Saga tokens. We only trimmed 2 Thoughtseize out, didn't we? I don't know if I want to bring them in. Maybe we can get rid of Break the Ice. Bring back in the Thoughtseize over Break the Ice. Like, Break the Ice kills Saga, though, really nicely. Don't know. Sanctifier? It's pretty good. It's actually really good. Okay, they're killing Lily, so it's going to buy us at least a turn. So our opponent still has 3 cards in hand, but yeah, Cauldron Complete is a complete nuisance for us. This card is way strong. So this time I imagine they make a token, right? Are they going no on creating tokens here? They're not. They're not creating a token. Interesting. Cool. Then we'll try to save up to kill Sanctifier. They get a Colossus Hammer, which makes you think they might have Pierced Paladin on the field. Like in hand or something. Alright. That's that. Let's bring back in these Thoughtseize here. And I think I'm just going to go out the Break the Ice. Maybe Break the Ice was too cute. Now the question is, do I want to be on the play? Or I want to be on the draw? You know what I mean? That's like always the weird question about this deck. I think I'm going to be on the play. I'm going to take the play. Yeah, this is actually a pretty solid hand. Keep. Just going to Ravenscry you and pass. Unfortunately, Orcish Bowmasters doesn't kill Stoneforge Mystic very well. Because it's a 1/2, but you know, who knows? Ginger Brute, sure. Gingerbrute dies pretty nicely to Bowmasters. No attacks. Interesting. Don't know if I have a reason to Bowmasters or if I should just Thoughtseize them. Let's Thoughtseize them. This is where they have a handful of land. A land full of hand. What's up, Pascal? What year is this? 2016. I don't know, when was the last time I played 8-rack really competitively? Pure Steel Paladin. You and permanents you control gain hexproof until end of turn. Prevent all black damage, red damage, whatever. That's annoying, but I'm gonna take Stoneforge. Don't yield through turn. I'm just gonna go ahead and play the rack now and just pass. That way next turn we can just start Urza Saga over and over and over again. Princess Paladin being a 2/2 is also annoying for us. So probably go Plains here. They might try to Surge of Salvation. We could Urza from next turn if we played Urza this turn, right? Yes, you're right. That's a missequencing on my end. You're absolutely right. We should have played Urza there, so we could Urza next turn. Yep, that's correct, Mundo. So now we have Orcish Bowmasters. We can actually, if they try to go Pierstone Paladin and like Plains or something, we can flash in the Orcish Bowmasters to try to trigger Surge of Salvation, to which we can Fatal Push the Paladin in response. Access for 1. I got an idea. Let's just see if he'll do it. Nope, they let it go. Okay. Well, we get another Fatal Push. Cool. Attack you for 2. With this Urza Saga, I honestly, because they have 4 cards in hand and we cannot draw for our life here, like interactive, like discard spells, what I'll probably do is actually just fetch up Pithing Needle on Stoneforge Mystic and call it done. So that way they can't activate Stoneforge Mystic, and that's just a dead draw from here on out. But we know what 2 of their 4 cards in hand are. The cool thing is we do have double Fatal Push. Sure. We know what 2 of their 3 cards are. We have double Fatal Push, and our clock is going to grow exponentially here. Oh, sweet. Are they just going to pass? All right. Create. Get a funeral charm. There's actually a good reason not to create a construct here. And my reasoning is the double fatal push on the Pierstone Paladin. I'd rather play this a little bit safer. So I'm still gonna fetch up Pithing Needle with this one. There's an argument for getting Expedition Map, so we can get. Oh, we took out Expedition Map. All right, I'm gonna get Pithing Needle, Stone Forge, Mystic. Let's hit him with the Funeral Charm. See what they do. They might just fire off Surge of Salvation now. Yep. Sure. Don't care. I got a card out of your hand. And I have double Fatal Push. So I'm not that concerned about that. Since black damage prevent all damage that black or red sources would deal to creatures you control. Okay. So it's not to them. Right? Did I read that wrong? I don't think so. So the rack's going to hit him for 1. Haha, we got you. But like I said, we have the double fatal push now for Pierstone Paladin. There's no way they have 2 Surge of Salvations. Sure. Let's see what they do here. Yagmoth Nexus are down to 1 card in hand. Let's in-step Fatal Push this Pierstone Paladin. Gotta go. Good luck with the stream. Thank you, Pascal, for hanging out at least a little bit. Enjoy the rest of your day. And we'll catch you next time. Tomorrow I'm playing Pauper, just so people know. Playing Pauper tomorrow. We don't know what our opponent has. It's also worth noting our opponent is playing Hammer Time and they're below 5-minute clock, and we're playing 8 rack and we're above 12 minutes. Like, what is happening here? We had the double fatal push. They're going to take 2 off the top here from the rack. I think we've got this one pretty lock in tow. I don't think they can kill us in 1 shot. Not with having double fatal push. I don't think they can. Sure. Is that GG's? Yep, GG. Got the GG's from our opponent here. The 8 rack taking down Hammer Time. That's what's up. Well, we took down Hammer Time. Orcish Bowmasters actually felt kind of good there. I mean, it only killed Ginger Brute, but like it helped out quite a bit. Thank you, Autumn. My first match back into Modern with 8 rack was a success. Don't know how that's going to go for the rest of it, but we'll see. I am going to test, like I said, a couple of decks. Ooh, this is a really heavy land hand without having cards like Urza Sagas. I don't know if I like this. It's probably not a good hand. I'm gonna mulligan it. I like this hand less. But I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna bottom the repetitious Lily here. And hope we top deck another black source. Let's see what they got going on over here. There's a couple new modern decks I really don't understand like what's going on. It's Yagmoth, okay. I don't really understand what's going on very well. This is a really bad matchup for us though. It always has been. Do you think it would be a good matchup for us? But we gotta take the bird. We don't have a way to kill it. I'm taking the bird. This is one of those matchups where I really don't want Tomb of Yagmoth. I want another land though. I want to have double land here. Sweet. All right. Let's go, Wrench Mind. The classic. What's up, Torvis? Was surprised you did not cite in Collector Brutality there, but good game. Oh, because of the -2, -2. Yeah, I don't know. I'd rather just like rely on. They ditch endurance, so we know what's in their hand completely. I would rather ditch. What am I even trying to say here? So they drew Misty Rainforest there. I wish my brain would work. Patra. Sure. Grist is going to be a really good card against us. I guess. I don't know. That could have probably been a card to bring in. I'm sure you're probably right. I'm going to Lily here and tick her down. Patra is too scary of a card for them to keep in their hand. And then we're going to start just Urza sagging. And fetch up racks and just try to race them. What we're going to do. They could cycle this Boseiju and blow up this. No, they play it. So they're going for Grist here. Yep. Create a 1/1 black creature token, then mill a card. If an insect creature was milled this way. Sure. Okay. Grist is such a cool card. I like Grist, the Hunger Tide, a lot. Concentrate on game. We'll keep my observation quiet for now. No, you're good. I mean, I'm not playing a league, so this isn't. Let's have an open dialogue. That way, I can learn about mistakes. But I am probably going to be a little bit more focused on the game because I'm not as familiar right now with Modern's form. Like, what's the word I'm looking for? Modern's meta right now, like what a lot of the decks are, because I've been out of Modern for so long, but I'm trying to get caught back up a little bit. Yagmoth is a cool deck. But for the tournament I'm trying to test the Rack, Green Black Rock, and Dredge, and maybe Mono Green Tron. Those are like the decks I'm really considering. Because the Rack or the Rock, or Green Black Rock, I have majority of the cards in paper. So I'm not that like super duper concerned on like trying to find cool, we just draw a copy of the Rack. I'm not really like super duper concerned with trying to my brain's not working here. I'm actually going to pitch this copy of the Rack here. Just so our opponent's in top deck mode. The Rack and the Rock, I don't need very many cards and paper to finish them out. Dredge, I am the most familiar with any modern deck. Um, but in paper, I don't have a lot of the mana. So I would have to get the Gemstone Caverns, yada, yada, yada. You know, I'd have to get a lot of the junk. That's for Dredge, so it'd be super expensive. Oh, I thought you were in League. Rock and Rack are two favorites. Yeah, they're like leading the pack right now with choices that I want to do. But no, I'm not in a league because I just don't have the I just don't have the, I guess, I don't know if desire is the right word, but I just don't want to go run through a league. For target creature or planeswalker? Hmm. Hmm. No. Alright, I guess I already did it. Definitely aggressive line here, but attack Grist. Hold on. Up Liliana. And let's rock it back. Next turn, we'll make another token and fetch up. Could fetch up. We could fetch up Expedition Map, but I think we just fetch up another Rack, try to close this game out as quick as possible. We could also get Nile Spellbomb and do that. I might actually get Nile Spellbomb and just clean out this graveyard here. Yeah, I think I'm just going to get Nile Spellbomb. No. Yeah. Let's just do that. Create a token, get Nile Spellbomb. We won't get the draw power off of it, but we get Pithy Needle and just stop this Grist altogether too. I'm gonna do that. They just scoop it. Cool. All right. So Leyline can come in. Don't know if I like anything else. Maybe we could bring in Bowmasters. Yeah, I don't know if I like anything else in this matchup, honestly. Funeral Charm can probably come out because it's not going to hit a lot in terms of removal. But I do like the instant speed on it. I think Pithing Needle and Nile Spellbomb can all stay in. I think Wrench Mine's fine. I think Smallpox is probably actually the worst card. I think we can just cut Smallpox out because of the Undying Critters. I think it's still in the deck. I'm not entirely sure, but I think Smallpox is probably the worst. Let's just bring in Bowmasters. Should be good. You think Smallpox would be good? Let's hope we have an opening hand ley line here. Ooh, crunchy fingers. No opening hand ley line, but Fatal Push into Wrench Mine feels pretty good. So I will keep this. I wish we had ley line though. This also, I think with Urza Saga, and I could be wrong, so I would love to hear somebody's opinion of this, but I do think always kill the bird. I do think what am I trying to say here? I guess we'll see what they do here, right? Yeah, sure. See? Undying. We could double kill it, but I really don't want to spend 2 cards on it. I think I'd rather just Wrench Mine, honestly. Get them down in hand here. What was I trying to say? Oh, about taking the play or not. I think with Urza Saga, we don't need to take the draw anymore. I think we can just play as is. Force of Vigor to the graveyard and Court of Calling. That's kind of cool. Wall of Roots, sure. And Viscera Seer, sure. So Viscera Seer is probably the card that needs to die the most here. And thankfully we do have quite a bit of removal options. I also think Wall of Roots should go, but they are in top deck mode. So let's find a Liliana we can just hide behind for a while. Although this Mishura's Factory is going to be pretty boss once it's out of Summoning Sickness. Because they can just block this Strangleroot Geist for days. Okay. Where's that Lily we can hide behind? If we go Mishura's Factory, we can kill Raven. We can kill Viscera Seer. We can Funeral Charm the Strangleroot Geist. We can Funeral Charm, I mean, Viscera Seer. We can kill Wall of Roots, and then they just have the Undying, which I'm not that concerned about. So I actually like this play here, and I like just doing this now. So let's kill Viscera Seer. They might, in response to Strangleroot Geist. The utility of Saga seems like a good toolbox enabler. Your discard, does that mean you always preferably take... So, typically, so they scry 1. Let's see what they do with it real quick. So typically with 8-rack, you want to, on top, that's interesting. Typically with 8-rack, what you want to do is... Hold on. Hold, please. What you want to do with 8-rack typically is you want to go second, because 8-rack is a War of Attrition deck. You want to 1-for-1 them, and if you can with cards like Wrench Mine, you want to 2-for-1 them, right? So that's like the whole plan of the deck. That's the whole, this is how we win strat of the deck. So what you want to do is just that, but awesome. Hold on. But you're playing Smallpox, and what Smallpox does is it 3-for-1s. And so if you turn to your turn, so that means they've already turn two'd. You turn to your turn and you play Smallpox. That Smallpox is actually like pretty powerful because it really puts them behind and you above them. Like you surpass them on board. They should have just held that Catacombs. It puts you surpass them on board. So that's what they saw the Mishura's factory. they know what's up with that. I don't even think I play Liliana here. Honestly. I don't. I think I just pass. I just pass and hold up Mishira's factory. So that's what you typically did. But with Urza's Saga, it almost feels like Smallpox is one of the weaker cards in the deck, and that's what I wanted to test because I've heard Smallpox is not very good right now in the meta. So I wanted to test to see how it does, and see if it's like doing anything worthwhile, you know, and seeing if it's still pretty strong. Yep, there it is. I was like, it's coming eventually. Declare blockers. Target itself. It becomes a 3/3, and you kill it. So yeah, that's kind of the logic behind it. But I'm starting to wonder if it's good enough to. I'm starting to wonder if it's good enough to just start. What's the word I'm looking for here? That should be game. I'm starting to wonder if it's good enough with Urza Saga because you have the dependability to hide behind sagas and to get sagas going quickly. If it's better to go on the play. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. But we have just taken down 2 meta decks right back to back. Like pretty simply. So it feels good. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm sure there's still matches out there that feels horrendous, but right now it feels good. This feels really good. Cycling the Peatland. Pretty good opponent. Takes 2 damage away from the rack, and they scoop it. It still feels really good. Like the rack does. Last time I played it, I beat a Rakdos Ragavan deck. This was over a year ago. I like an FNM. I beat blue-red. I mean, not blue-red. That's a pretty solid hand. I beat Izzet Murktide, and I lost to Tron. I feel like there was a 4th match, but maybe it was just 3. It was at an FNM. Might have just been 3. But I lost to Tron, but I did take a game down from Tron. But I ended up losing to turn 3 Karn. Game 3. I didn't have like a super stellar hand. But I guess Yagmoth again? This isn't the same player, right? Well, I wanted to lead on Thoughtseize, but I think we lead on Fatal Push. I think we always just kill the bird, right? Always kill the bird. We can wrench mine them next turn. We could just Thoughtseize them next turn. Actually, I might just double Thoughtseize them next turn and actually just like pick apart their hand a little bit. Hope they don't have a good turn 2 play here. They might. Giver of Ruins is interesting. So maybe it's not. So the question is do I want to wrench mine them here or do I want to double Thoughtseize them here? And I think I want to wrench mine them here. Because we can double Thoughtseize next turn in Urza Saga if we need to. I don't think I'm going to play this layout yet. I have to bail. Deck's running very nice. Always kill the bird. Good luck. Thank you. Thank you, Taurus. I hope you have a good rest of your day. And we'll catch you tomorrow at some point. All right, so this is interesting. This is a card I've not seen played yet. Call the ring. At the beginning of upkeep, the ring tempts you. Whenever you choose a creature as your ring bearer, you may pay 2 life. If you do, draw a card. That's pretty good against us. They have 1 card in hand, so we might just Liliana to get rid of this Giver of Ruins. Just because they might not have a good... Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to Liliana here. Also, I should probably turn off yields to that. Because that means they miss the ring bearer this turn. They scoop it. They scoop it to Liliana. Bowmasters can come in. Potentially. I don't know. We saw a bunch of 1/2s, right? Maybe we don't want Bowmasters. We just saw some 1/2s. We didn't really see anything that exciting. What's up, Sarah? We didn't see anything that exciting so far, so maybe I don't bring in anything. How are the matches going? We're not in a league. We're just in tournament practice queues, but we beat Hammer Time 2-1, and we beat Yagmoth 2-0. And we're up a game against whatever our opponent's doing, which I'm not entirely sure what they're doing. I'm just going to run it back the way it is. I didn't see anything super great yet. I hope did you catch what I said, White Lotus? So, we're up 2-1 against Hammer Time, 2-0 Yagmoth, and we're up a game against what our opponent has got going on. I'm gonna keep this, I think. I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this. Nice. Yeah, I mean the deck seems to be running pretty good. I shouldn't have said that though, but we'll see. I'm going to the Apex gaming series. They lead on Giver, which makes me kind of want to dismember here. To dismember the Giver of Ruins. Maybe I don't though. I think I'm just going to lead on Raven's Crime. And pass. I would love to top deck another land so we can just guarantee a turn 2 Smallpox into a turn 3 Liliana. If we can. But yeah, I'm going to the Apex series, gaming series, August 12th and 13th in Cadwell, Ohio. I plan on participating in the Modern tournament. I'm going to do the Pioneer tournament, but I'm not doing... Oh, damn, that's pretty good. I'm not planning on really taking the Pioneer one serious. I have a video idea I want to do for the Pioneer one, but the Modern one I actually want to like play. So I'm testing some different builds and decks that I'm considering, and 8-rack being my all-time favorite deck. I want to see how it does. I've not played it in a year, so I just want to see how it does. I got a pretty good hand, but we'll see what our opponent takes. If I was them, I'd probably take Dismember. Probably Smallpox, actually, because they have Dismember protection. I'd probably take Smallpox. Yep. What's up, Bull? Just got here, not my cup of tea, but I'm here to learn. Yeah, Modern is not everybody's cup of tea, that's for sure. I can't imagine you attack with Giver Ruins. That would be a really silly attack. I used to be huge into Modern, but kind of fell out with it. The power level I'm not crazy on currently, but also just the price of cards. And I play majority in Magic Online, so I like the cheap side of Pauper. Plus, I like Pauper's power level and format a lot, besides how strong the mono red deck is. We get Mishira's Factory. Sure. Sure. Burn is beautiful. You may like it. I'm assuming they're just some kind of like Abzan creature deck. So I'm assuming our opponent is. Nazgul. Okay, when Nazgul enters the battlefield, the ring tempts you. Whenever the ring tempts you, put a +1/+1 counter on each Wraith you control. Deck can have up to 9 cards. This is interesting. Yeah, this is interesting. I think I'm going to dismember this Giver of Ruins here. I don't know. Our opponent's in 1 creature card. Yeah, I'm going to dismember this Giver of Ruins here. If they give us back Smallpox, it's going to be really devastating to them. So I figured they would get rid of the Nazgul. That's kind of interesting. Like Abzan Nazgul. Pretty cool. But I'm fine with just going like double Liliana, because he's going to kill this Liliana, then we're going to steal back Smallpox from them with our next Liliana. The cool thing about the Ring Bearer is it makes them discard if they draw a card off of it, so they don't just build their hand up, which would be really bad against us. Honestly, like if that was the ring ability, like 8-Rack would be in a worse position it's in. This deck is cool, whatever this Nazgul thing they got going on here is. They're going to come at me, which is cool, because I'm just going to upkeep, make them discard a card, then play Liliana. So I'm actually like super cool with this. That play there, not going after this Lily. Which I feel like it was a really bad decision. They should have killed this Lily. I feel like. What? Frodo. Is this just a Lord of the Rings deck? I don't even know what Frodo does. If Frodo Sauron's Bane is a citizen, it becomes a halfling scout with base power, toughness of 2/3. How does it become a citizen? Tap 3. If Frodo is a scout, it becomes a halfling rogue. Oh, it becomes a scout. Okay, so it's like a weird level up mechanic. That's kind of neat. I always gotta make sure you click the right one. Let's get our Smallpox back. Smallpox is just gonna be pretty rough against them, I feel like. And I'm gonna put 4 mana on the board just because we're gonna Smallpox them next turn. I might just wrench. Actually, I might just wrench mine them and keep up Smallpox. I beat Fey Ninja with Mono White Wonderbread using Holy Light twice as a finisher. Oh, speaking of the Holy Light debacle from the other day, when it killed Nested Shambler, someone commented and they made a really good point that I never considered, and that's it. That I never considered, which is it gets -1/-1. So when Nested Shambler dies, it was actually a 0/0. Therefore, it did not create a squirrel token because it had no power. And I was like, you make sense. Makes sense. That was something I was not aware or privy to, so kind of interesting. Oh, double Peatland is not the best. But I kind of like having Spell Bomb and Pithing Needle for just in cases, so I'm gonna do it. Oof, that's what it was. Yeah. Aye, that be what it is. I chose to play first. Okay. Urza Saga. So you know what's cool about this is we can just Pithing Needle Urza Saga and they can't make any construct tokens. Turn off auto yields. Let's let them do that. Now they just lose it forever. We just Pithing Needle Urza Saga because we don't have anything else to do right now. Unless we top deck Wrench Mine, which would be hilarious because that would be such a bad card. Smallpox. Smallpox is kind of cool. I don't think I like Smallpoxing here, honestly. I think I'm just going to play the Peatland, Pithing Needle, Urza Saga. Because they can't make any tokens with Urza Saga. Like, they can still search stuff up, but it just kills off all their tokens. Yeah, because they played Moon Circuit Hacker after my first Holy Light, which was still living. So I think Holy Light doesn't actually affect creatures that enter the battlefield after it's used. Probably not. Probably, I don't know. Because it's still in a turn, right? Opponent, your creatures control, creatures your opponent controls. I don't know. They did not keep a 1-land hand. Do we just Smallpox them then now? And so they can even trigger the Urza Saga? The only thing I don't like about that is not being able to find... I don't think so. We don't have a win con right now. Smallpox, they're going to lose their Saga anyway. Let them go get a 1-1. Or a 0. I'm not sure what they'll get, but... I guess we could have stopped them from playing mana, which would have been good, I guess. I've always been curious as to why the deck is called 8-Rack, but I've not really looked at it. So it's called 8-Rack because you have 4 copies of the rack, and you have... hold on, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do here. Ornithopter. Alright, maybe we should have just Smallpoxed them. Yeah, probably should have just Smallpoxed them. Because you have 4 copies of the rack and then 4 copies of Shrieking Affliction, which is pretty much the same thing as the rack. It's worded a little bit differently. Whenever 2 or more creatures you control attack a player, look at the top 5 cards of your library and reveal a creature card from among them. Put the rest in their hand on the bottom right, any order. Sure. Should have Smallpox that Urza Saga. Fatal Push you. Dismember you. Now I'm gonna Smallpox. But that's why it's called that. Yeah, now I'm definitely gonna Smallpox. Guess I should have just played out Nile Spellbomb, right? I'm gonna get rid of one of these peatlands here. I scoop it up. Wrench Mine comes out 100%. Orcish Bowmasters 100% comes in. Pretty good argument for Ratchet Bomb, I feel like, too, to blow up all the zeros. 8-Rack, 8 viewers. That's what's up. Yeah, that's why it's called 8-Rack. Actually, this version of the deck isn't really 8-Rack because it's not playing Shrieking Affliction. Shrieking Affliction is just not very good. It's a really bad top deck for this deck because there's Boseijus running around. It's more proactive to run like Urza Saga, because Saga allows you to create bodies on the board and fetch the rack effects. So you don't really need the 8 copies of that effect anymore. But that's what it's called. It's either 8 rack or the rack. It just depends on who you ask, I suppose. Okay, so we went down the wrench mines. I'm also gonna go down. What's Inquisition? 3 or less? Yeah, it's 3 or less. I kind of want to keep Raven's Crime. I mean, not Raven's Crime. We can probably go down. I guess the question is, do we really want Ratchet Bomb? It does blow up the field pretty nicely, though, don't it? I don't think I'm gonna bring in Ratchet Bomb. I think I'm gonna go down the Ratchet Bombs. I'm gonna go out 2 Thoughtseize for the Bowmasters. Try it like that. Bowmaster potentially kills off a couple critters in one move on its own, so let's just do that. Yeah. I'm not like in love with this hand, but I'm gonna keep it. If we can top deck another land, I'd be pretty happy. This is probably a match too where when this Saga goes off, I just find Pithing Needle and name Urza Saga. I don't know, to be honest with you. I guess it depends on how much they dump their hand here, right? Welding Jar is really good against us. That's for sure. Another Yagmoth. Wish you were a different land. I'm just going to start Raven's Crime them here. How are the Bowmasters in the deck? The one time I brought them, okay, they've had enough. They were racked out. Hold on. I'll talk here in a second. I'm going to type something out. So far, Bowmaster's been pretty good. They've only really been relevant one match I brought them in. There's only been one matchup where I was like, yes, I want Bowmaster, and they worked fantastically the match I brought them in. This is a... if I had a 1-drop, this would be a lot better hand. I was already say this is a really good hand. It's like, it's not really good, but it's good. Turn 2 Smallpox and Lily on the Veil. With that being said, I should have... Are they going first? Okay, they're going first. I was like, I should have probably went on the draw with Smallpox, but I don't know. Yeah, I should have went on the play. Mountain. Okay. We might be too slow for this. Let's go run this out now. We don't have any other turn 1 play. Just gonna run this out now. But yeah, Bowmaster so far has been the one matchup that we were like, we actually got to use it and was like, yes, we want it for this matchup. It was really strong. Which was against Hammer Time. It was really strong. So, Young Pyromancer. This is super interesting. Yeah, we might be too slow for this matchup. This is a style of deck that we're not super duper good against. If I Smallpox here, yeah, they lose a card, but they don't really lose like a good creature necessarily. You know what I mean? So if we play Urza Saga now, we can potentially start building up a bigger board that holds back their creatures. So I think that's what my game plan here is. Ratchet Bombs are coming in 100%. It's probably so are the Bowmasters. But like I said, the Bowmasters have been really strong. So I've been a big fan of them so far. This is a matchup where I think Liliana might kind of suck. Okay. So this is what's happening here. We're not quite dead here. But we're not in good shape. Well, we can create a 2/2 body that blocks. We just gotta hope for the better. I wish I could afford Paper, Modern, or Legacy because the boost in power seems like fun. It can be fun. I personally like the power level Pauper more. Right. Take 5. We'll be in bolt range though. They just have another one anyway. I wish we could have found some removal. Instead, we've drawn land almost every turn this turn. There's not really anything we have. This is going to fetch up. That's going to be worthwhile for us. Unfortunately, we can't do Mishura's Factory. We can't activate Mishura's Factory, though. We just can't block with it. Which means we're dead no matter what happens here. Yep, just too slow. Too slow. Alright, so Bowmasters 100% comes in. I also really like Collective Brutality here, and I like Ratchet Bomb. To go down, I don't mind Wrench Mind here. If we can turn to Wrench Mind, I don't like Dismember here. I also like Funeral Charm. I don't like Thoughtseize that much here. I think we go Thoughtseize. I'm going to go out Expedition Map and Pithing Needle, and probably Spell Bomb. Try like that. I originally started playing Is It, so I could afford it. Probably I'd play Murktide. Right on. At one point, the rack used to be really cheap, other than Liliana's. Because when I first built this deck, the Urborgs were like $1 a piece. I don't know how much they are right now. But when I built the deck years and years ago, they were like $1 or $2 a piece. And then the only like top end cards that were expensive was Thoughtseize, Inquisition, and Liliana. And I had the Thoughtseize from PAX, and I think I ended up buying like 1 or 2 to finish out a playset. And I got the Inquisitions. I got pretty much all my Inquisitions from Modern Master sets, so, and trading. So I had all of them. Keep. This is pretty solid. I like this hand. Not crazy about Smallpox, but we have it. I like turn 2 Wrench Mine. Turn 1 Fatal Push something. Turn 2 Wrench Mine seems good. Also, I wish I would have played when the Painter's Servant Grindstone combo was a thing. I have no idea what that is. I'll be 100% honest with you. Not sure at all. Oh, another Bowmasters. Let's go. I'm hoping these Bowmasters will be really brutal to our opponent. I feel like they will be. Mutagenic Growth and Bushwhacker, sure. So Mutagenic Growth in the decks, that's something to keep in mind of with both Bushwhacker and Collective Brutality. Them doing this makes me think their hand's really bad. I'm going to flash in Bowmasters here. I wish we had a third land for Liliana. Liliana right there would have been pretty good. Let's go Bowmasters. Do your thing. Land. Yes. Just like we drew it. Probably just going to attack in Liliana here. I don't foresee us ever playing this Smallpox. So I'm fine with doing this. Our other cards in our hand are so much better than Smallpox right now. This is probably a matchup actually where Smallpox, we probably should have sideboarded out Smallpox. Smallpox is typically pretty bad against like go wide creature strats. You know? I'm sure there's probably gonna be turns where we're doing plus a Liliana in this game. Sure. Sure. Orcish Bowmaster's doing his thing. I'm sure they're gonna kill our Orcish Bowmaster. Sure. Still does damage to them though. And we still amass the army token. And we have another one. Bowmaster's so good. Alright. Yeah, now I feel a lot better. I'm not even gonna plus Liliana here. Let's just start Grindstone is a 1-mana artifact with 3 and tap it. Target player mills 2 cards. If they share a color, repeat this process. Pretty good. Now the problem is when our opponent is on the upkeep, like on the play, I mean, they're gonna like be a lot stronger than probably we are, because we're kind of slow and grindy. So we really need like a pretty like next game, like if they're gonna be on the play, we need a pretty proactive hand, and I think that's why Smallpox is probably coming out. Honestly. Oh, hold up! Dang it! No, I should have flashed in Bowmasters because I would have got to pump the army again. Damn it. Well, you learn, right? And Manamorphose, in response to Manamorphose, I should have Bowmasters. Because if I throw down Bowmasters while on their draw, then it would have hurt them. Dang, dude. Well, you know what's cool, though, is like we get to Inquisition them. And if we want to upkeep... Oh, yeah, their hand's bad. I don't even care to do anything in the upkeep, honestly. Their hand's really bad. I should have took Haze of Rage just because of Storm, but any creature they play, Bowmasters kills really easily, so. Sure. I'm just going to create a Colorless Construct here. We have a hand that literally just deals with this completely, so. And I'm not even... Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to make a token. I'm going to make another one. Make another construct here. Hold on, I'll read your comments in a second, Darius. Sorry, I'm trying to math my way through this. Get the rack out. Let's just... attack you for 5. I'm going to attack you for 5 and see what happens here. Out of curiosity, what will happen here? Flashback, Fatal Grudge. So they can't Haze of Rage here. So Orcish Bowmasters V2. I'm pretty sure they still get a 1/1 out of this. Crowd's favor, sure. They're going to get 2 critters here. But they can't Haze of Rage, which is the important part here. And even if they, because we're going to take it with Collective Brutality. I mean, they're Liliana. We're going to take their Haze of Rage with Liliana. So it really doesn't matter. And our board is pretty strong, so. I'm going to ditch Collective Brew, lead back Fatal Push, and pass. Orcish Bowmasters, I will be ordering 3 more of you soon. Because I have one of them right now. I think this card is insanely strong. Yeah, I think Orcish Bowmasters is really, really good. So I don't know. Dismember doesn't feel good here. You know what I mean? But neither does Smallpox. But I don't think I have anything that is like better than Smallpox. You know what I mean? There's Thoughtseize, but man, I don't know if I want Thoughtseize in this matchup. I'm just gonna run it back. This isn't bad. I'm gonna keep. Lead into Raven's Crime, maybe then Wrench Mine, depending if they have Orcish Bowmasters. We could also turn to Collective Brutality. Yeah, alright, I'm gonna keep. But yeah, Bowmasters has been really strong. Ooh, Mishura's Factory is really cool. Alright, let's get them to start cycling out cards here. But yeah, Orcish Bowmasters has been super duper strong. I'm really impressed with that card. Whenever an opponent activates an ability of an artifact, creature, or land on battlefield, if it is a ban ability. Okay. The question here is do I like Collective Brutality or do I like Wrench Mine here? I think I like Collective Brutality going up an ability, and I might just ditch this copy of the rack to do so. Target creature gets -2/-2, and let's see if we can steal a card out of their hand. Yeah, okay. Let's take the Crimson Wisp here, because we're going to steal the Haze of Rage from them next turn, because I guarantee they're going to go Young Pyromancer. Probably Blackleaf Cliffs, Young Pyromancer. Don't know what they'll have in hand, but we're going to hopefully... I don't even know if... Do I Wrench Mine here? Put them in top deck mode. We lose an Urza Saga trigger, but like at the same time, we have Bowmasters to start cleaning up, and we get rid of the scary card that's a Storm. Yeah, I think we just Wrench Mine, put them in top deck mode, and then we try to control the board between Bowmaster and Urza Saga. They did have a 1-drop, a Mutagenic Growth, sure. That's actually cool because that actually makes our bowmasters a lot better. Because our bowmasters would have been a lot worse otherwise. So cool, I guess. But they could have a really explosive. Yep. I was gonna say they could have a really explosive draw here, which they did. But our opponent is in top deck mode, and we're gonna create a 2/2 here. Fetch up a rack. Have a rack. Play a Mashura's Factory. And then I like just killing the young Pyromancer here now before they make more tokens, but also we can't kill the monetary Swift Spear without with Bowmaster. So I think we kill the Swift Spear on their turn. The rack doing its thing. This is normally a deck we're really bad against, but Orcish Bowmaster is kind of leveling the playing field a little bit. This card is so good. I cannot believe how good this Orcish Bowmaster is. Like, no joke. No attacks. End step. Kill you. Upkeep, draw. Collective Brew. You know what's cool about this? I can attack here. And let's see what they do here. Nothing. Alright. We'll pass. Deals 2 damage to them. Go Bowmasters. And Bowmasters just kills both of their cards here. By the way. Hey, Augie, thank you for the $2. I think you might want Shirold Zedek. Potentially. I don't know what that card is. I'm out of Modern, by the way. Just so you have an idea, Augie. This is my first foyer in Modern in over a year. So... Orcish Bowmasters is insane. Let me pull... That's it. Orcish Bowmasters. We are 5-0 against the matches we played so far. Don't know if I want to run this through a league quite yet, but that was a weird mono red aggro deck. That was kind of cool. Let's look up the... I'm gonna look up Shieldrids. I don't know how to say it. I'm so bad with names. Edict. Choose one. Each opponent sacrifices a non-creature token. Each opponent sacrifices a creature token. Each player sacrifices a planeswalker. At instant speed. Yeah. I do believe you're right. I do believe we want that. How do you say that? Shieldred? Shieldred? That's how my brain wants to say it. Am I saying that wrong? But again, though, Augie, thank you so much for the chat donation. That could be really good. Wonder where we put that at. Is that a sideboard card or a mainboard card? You know what I mean? To go in place of Dismember, maybe? Maybe it goes in place of Smallpox? Because Smallpox has not been that impressive so far. I got time for one more game before I got to go today. But that could very well go in a slot here. Don't know where. Would like to go first. Yeah. Keep. Kind of a classic 8-rack opening hand. Well, opponent, what you got going on here? Mr. I Do Math, Miss or whoever. I don't know. I shouldn't assume. Ooh, this is a good hand. Orcish Bowmasters, Opt, Esper Charm. What does Esper Charm do? Destroy target enchantment, draw 2 cards. Target player draws 2 cards. I think I'm going to take Opt here. Our opponent said be right back. I told him no worries. Take Opt here. Man, Bowmasters is a good card. I'm gonna take Opt. Hopefully make their turn 1 a little bit worse. Turn 2, we can go Thoughtseize into Raven's Crime. And probably try to take their Orcish Bowmaster from them. And then plus Liliana. Keep plussing Liliana to the end of no return. The good thing is they're not going to hit us with Orcish Bowmasters very, very well, because we're not drawing multiple cards and we don't have a lot of creatures for them to hit. However, having 2 bodies for 1 is really good. The best cards against 8-rack are cards that do 2 things for the price of 1, which is like Orcish Bowmaster. Mog War Marshal has also been a nuisance card for this deck. I don't really know what our opponent's got going on very much, but this is a matchup where I'm liking Orcish Bowmaster and Collective Brutality are calling out to me as of right now. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Yeah, their opponent being BRBing, what I'm probably gonna do is like, I don't know if I want to just like lean into 8-rack or if I want to try Dredge out. You know what I mean? I'm like kind of just all over the place of like what I want to do in terms of like testing for this tournament. But I'm leaning toward 8-rack. And I don't know if I'm going to up my Modern to like twice a week. I don't know. We'll have to see, I guess. Play Darkslick Shores. They have 5 cards in hand, so we're not entirely sure what one of their cards are. Let's Thoughtseize them again. Still leaning on taking Orcish Bowmaster here. They top deck an Opt. Gross. They scry to the bottom, but they draw off of it. So they still are just land and Orcish Bowmasters. The problem is this Esper Charm. We're not going to be able to get this out of hand very well. But we're going to try. Here. And Raven's Crime you. Let's see what you did here. I'm going to assume probably like Concealed Courtyard. One of the redundant cards, I would assume. That's what my guess is going to be. I'm not going to lie. Like, I haven't played Modern in so long, but I forgot how much I love 8-rack as a deck. I miss this deck like a lot. I used to play this all the time. When I played Modern in paper before I really switched to MTGO, I pretty much only played 8-rack or Dredge. Those were like my 2 decks. And on the back end of us going to F&M's a lot, it was just always 8-rack. I just always took 8-rack. My biggest claim with it is I got to win a tournament where the top end prize was a foil Thoughtseize, the Theros block foil Thoughtseize. So I got a piece of bling in my deck. Sherald's Edict is a pretty good effect. It's an instant 1 black and has 3 modes. Yeah, I read off the modes. It's a very, very, very good card, especially for what we're doing. I'm just trying to debate where it goes in at, and I'm leaning into Smallpox probably is the answer for it to go away from, because Smallpox is just really, it's been underwhelming. You know what I mean? I'm back for good now. No worries. You know, the couple times we've actually drawn Smallpox, I've not been that inclined to fire it off. Now, if we top deck it here, I'll 100% play it. You know, if we top deck it right now, I will 100% play Smallpox. Dismember. Appreciate your understanding. Let's see what happens to this Liliana here. I'm going to pitch probably Yagmoth. Probably the Tomb here. Also cuts down on black pips. What do you mean by that? Helps you run Saga. Oh, yeah, okay. No, I see what you mean now. Your, like, black mana requirements. They have Griff. Grief? Why did I say Griff? Esper Charm's going to be pretty annoying here. We couldn't get rid of the Esper Charm, unfortunately. I'm not the biggest fan of Smallpox here, honestly. But I'm not, like, against it either. If we had another land, I'd be more opt to Smallpox here. Gonna empty hand them though. But I'm assuming they have a lot of draw power. Could just attack with Mashira's Factory. Alright. Attack here. Deck in for 2. I think I'm just going to pitch this Smallpox here. They're going to Esper Charm here. Yep, that's what I figured. Ephemerate. Okay, so they're definitely the evoke ephemerate thing. That's what they got going on here. So I think we keep this dismember up forever. So we don't know what's in their hand anymore. They're going to steal this dismember, so we might as well just use it. I've also seen rack decks running Grief main board. I've tested Grief in the past with 8 rack, and I really don't like it. In my reasoning, you think it'd be really good, right? But my reasoning to why I don't like it is the it's the fact that it becomes a burden card, I guess, in a way. In the sense that you are, you know, what I said earlier was like 8 rack is a war of attrition. You want to 1-for-1 them, and then for the few cards you can 2-for-1 them, you 2-for-1 them. And so when you have a card like Griff where you're trying to them, right? Hold on. Where you're trying, but you're like 2ing yourself to get one of their cards. It's really bad. I had a couple Griffs that I was trying out in the deck and was not a fan of it. Now Turok, Dread Cantor was actually pretty solid. I like Turok there. Might just ult this Lily and make them choose just some crappy lands. Like, we could essentially cut them off of either black or white. mana. I think I like that play. I'd rather +1 Lily, but can we +1 her and just try to keep Lily for a turn? Is that too greedy? We should have done it last turn. Yep, I'm gonna do this. Lily into 2 piles. This one cuts him off, and I like cuts him off of white. This one cuts him off of double blue and black. There's not a way for me to take every color from them. Like to take, I mean, to have an option where both of them takes a color from them. So I feel like this is probably the better play here. Let him choose between this. Oh, they kept the white. White must be more important to them. Duly noted. Let's Thoughtseize you. This will debate on what I do here. Yeah. Steal you. Play the rack and pass. Yeah, with them being like the grief sure. We're still doing 5 damage a turn. We have a really good clock here. Slash got the awareness going on. White, duly noted. Yeah. I still feel like I screwed up their doing that Lily on a. Oh, I think still screwed them up a lot. 100% Orcish Boaks come in. I'm not a big fan of Collective Brutality, really. I'm not the biggest fan of Void Mirrors. Actually, probably really good. What? How does Invoke actually read? MTG Invoke or Evoke, not Invoke. Pay alternative costs for a creature spell when it's sacrificed. Okay. So in theory, Void Mirror would cancel them. So I like that. And that's kind of all I like in this matchup. I don't like Funeral Charm very much here. Fatal Push is probably not very good. Smallpox is probably fine. Wrenchmine's probably fine. Pithing Needle's probably not the best. I'm sure they have Teferi though. Dismember's good. Raven's Crime's okay. Raven's Crime's Liliana Dismember. Yep, I like this. The problem with Orcish Bowmasters is it's not super duper good at one more land, and this is 100% keep. This would be a good hand with one land. I mean, with 2 lands. We got to mulligan this. We'll keep this. I'm going to bottom the second Raven's Crime. It's the least impactful card here. Wrench Mine's probably going to be pretty solid against them. Dismember is obviously going to be good. Let's hope they don't have the turn one Grift Ephemerate. Oh, do you really? If they have the Ephemerate, I'm just probably going to scoop. I don't know if we beat that, honestly. Yep. Well, I don't know. We might not scoop yet. It's very strong, though. They take Dismember here. Yep. Inquisition you. 2 lands. Alright. The good thing is they don't get to hit us on turn 3 with a Grift. I mean, turn 2 with a Grift, but they're going to take our Grief. I keep saying Grift. But they're probably going to take Wrench Mine here. I don't know. Both our cards are pretty good. But I imagine they take Wrench Mine. But we top deck. Okay, so they have a land in hand. So if we top deck Smallpox, the problem is we don't have very many good cards. I'm actually kind of a fan of just Raven's Crime here. And I think I'm okay with taking 3 here. I want to really try to top deck a land. Plus, I want to utilize this Raven's Crime a little bit. How do they still have a card in hand? Did they not have 1 card in hand before I fired off that Raven's Crime? I thought they only had 1 card in hand. Oh, it's their turn. Duh. Never mind. That makes sense. Land. Ooh. Did I even fire off the Smallpox? Yeah, I do, right? We'll see if that hurts us. Land. Yes. It's working like we want it to. I'm glad I didn't scoop. I'm glad we fought through this. I thought for sure it's like we can't beat that, but we're starting to stabilize a little bit here. End step. Create Saga. Create a token. Draw Raven's Crime. Create token. Go get the rack. Attack you for 3. Sure. You take 3. We draw. Alright. Raven's Crime you. Oh, is it Esper Charm? Sure. Good top deck. Take 3. I really want to land here. They're going to opt. They scry to the bottom. They get another land. We get another land. Activate Mashira's Factory. If we come back to win this, like, holy smokes. They had such an amazing start, too. I mean, we had a good hand, too, though. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. We had a really good hand, but, like, they had, like, the start. I understand why they're playing these lands, because they can get, they can hardcast their, invoke, excuse me, their invoke creatures. But we have the game won now. It's locked. I mean, there's nothing they can do to win the game. Yep. Well. Dang. Was that one... What was that one? Was that 2-0? Did we take that one down 2-0? Yeah. Esper, Evoke. All right, so let's talk about the rack here. Felt great. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like, this has felt amazing. With that being said, we didn't play against a ton of tier decks, right? We didn't play against some of the notorious hard matchups. We didn't play against the Rhinos. We didn't play against Living In. We didn't play against what I'm assuming is the Indomitable Creativity card deck that's supposedly insane. I don't really know much about it. We didn't play, you know, there's a lot of decks we didn't play against that I know is really, really good right now in the format. But we did play against some tier decks. We did play against some strategies that this deck is notoriously bad against, and we came out on top. We beat Hammer Time 2-1. Hammer Time is not really a matchup I've ever really encountered with 8-rack, so I've never really been super sure how that would line up. Felt good. Esper Sentinel was strong for our opponent, but again, we were able to take him down pretty much thanks to Orcish Bowmasters. And then we fought Yagmoth, which felt really simple. Yagmoth, we kind of just blitzed through pretty, I wouldn't say easily, but like those were pretty like relaxed games. We controlled the games pretty handily, and I felt like they had good hands. I felt like Yagmoth had like probably the hands they would want to see. We took down this weird Abzan ring deck. I don't really know what was going on there. We also took down Affinity, which feels like I don't know. Like I feel like the one game Affinity kept a really bad hand to try to dump everything, and we just had good answers for them. But then we had Mono Red Aggro, which typically is a deck that would be really bad again, like for us, because not only that is they had actually a good little amount of draw power, but they also had, you know, go wide, you know, with all the tokens, and we're typically really bad against go wide strategies, but again felt really strong. And then we fought against Esper Evoke, which that game 2, man, they had the Nutsoid opener, and I thought for sure that was going to be game. But they kind of whittled down, and then they leaned into really bad top decks, where our deck we just drew a lot of good stuff, and we were able to close the game out. Let's talk about what's going on in this deck. Things that I still think feel good. For the longest time, I still think Urza Saga is super relevant at making this deck have any kind of power level today. It gives you a great B strategy plan, and it acts as a pseudo 8-rack because you're able to fetch out of your deck the racks. It's a lot more of a proactive card than Shrieking Affliction is, to where I think like if you're playing 8-rack or a rack deck, you need Urza Saga. I think it's just too powerful of a card not to be running, and it gives you a great B strategy to fall back onto if you don't find your your racks, or you're struggling to get your opponent's life totals down. Also, allowing us to fetch up Pithing Needle or Spell Bomb in a pinch is really solid. Pithing Needle is a card that I think you need at least one of in your 75, preferably main deck, because of cards like Wrenn and 6. Wrenn and 6 is one of the best cards against 8-rack, period, full stop. So I think you need a Pithy Needle of some kind. It also was really good. We had Pithy Needle opening hand against Urza Saga, so that was really solid, the one game. But the rack just closes out games super quick. Between the 2 copies of Mishira's Factory, which I was like, I wanted 4 of, I don't think so. I think 2 is actually really, really good. It pumps your Urza Saga tokens. It pumps itself. It's a great blocker on its own. But I don't think you want 4 of this card, because if you had 4 of this card, I think you would dilute your double black. Now, there's an argument like if we play something else other than the smallpox, we can dilute our double black. But I don't think so. I think 2 of Mishira's Factories is like right on the money, really. Like I really do think that's like right where you want to be with it. Nurturing Peatland is just awesome. It also allows you to open up to some green sideboard if need be, but I don't think I would go that route. It's just a really good, draw you some cards, find opens up Fatal Push a little bit better. Castle Lothwain, pretty solid. The one things that I would probably change out of the deck, this variation when it comes to the mana base, I like the 1 castle. I think 1 castle's fine. I would probably go down 2 to 4 basic swamps, 4 fetch lands. And the reason why I would do that is my past running Fatal Push has made fetch lands have made Fatal Push just more consistent and better. So I feel like going down that to trigger Revolt more is probably pretty good. Also worth noting, if you have Urborg, you never have to sack the land to find a land, because you can just tap it for mana with Urborg. So for me, somewhere between 2 to 4 fetch lands feels good, just to make Revolt more consistent on hitting 4. That's just my personal opinion. Also, let's talk about our main deck here. Expedition Map is okay. I like Expedition Map just for the fact it's a good target for Urza Saga. It is limited on how often you will Urza Saga Expedition Map. However, there are games I've played in the past in person and paper where I have just had Expedition Map and go, I have some free time. I don't have an Urza Saga. Let's just fetch up an Urza Saga and get that going. And that's been helpful. I don't think I'm ever really in a situation where I'm going to snag another Expedition Map with Urza Saga, but I know there will be situations that can pop up for it. So I feel like a 1-of for Expedition Map is okay. It's not a bad card either to sideboard out, but main game, like, it's not bad to execute that B plan of Urza Saga tokens. The 1-of Spellbomb never really came up, but also I know this card is really good, so why not have a main board of it? The last time I played 8-rack in paper, I played against Murktide, and I was able to just fetch up Spellbomb and nuke their graveyard, which I knew they had a Murktide in hand, and they were I think it was like 2 lands away from casting Murktide. And in their hand, because I had not Thoughtseize, I may have Inquisitioned them. I'm pretty sure they had like a land and a Murktide left, I think is what they had in their hand. So when that Saga went off, and I already had a rack on the field, I just decided to get Spellbomb and clean out their graveyard, so Murktide would be a lot worse when it came into the field. And that ended up winning me the game. So I still like having the 1 Spellbomb. Like I said, I think Pithy Needle is a must 1-of. There are matches you can sideboard this out 100%, but I feel like a 1-of is probably must. The rack, 4 copies. You want 4 copies if you're playing this deck. Obviously, it's one of your main win cons. Fatal Push is strong. Funeral Charm is strong. Inquisition strong. Raven's Crime. Like, the rest of this deck is pretty strong, except for Smallpox, which I'll talk about in a second, because I want to talk about Funeral Charm. Funeral Charm I'm running a 2-of. I like this card a lot, but I like it as a 2-of. I've never liked running 4 of this card, ever. I don't like the instant speed. Target player discards a card is very situational. It is not the strongest ability of this card. Target creature gains Swamp Block. Very, very situational. Has come up before. Not that important. Target creature gets +2, -1. The strongest ability on this card. And with Ragavan still being a thing, Ragavan is a very powerful card against us. I think you still want a 2 of. It also showed up really nicely against the Esper Sentinel, against that mono aggro deck. It pops up. This card is pretty strong. If we get into a meta where Ragavan's not as good and X2s are more prevalent, then this card can come out. But for right now, I like it as a 2 of, and I still like it as a 2 of. Raven's Crime is just super strong. Smallpox was one of the least exciting cards of the deck today, which is sad because it's one of my favorite cards ever printed. Smallpox is one of my favorite cards of all time. It's just not as prevalent here because it feels like the weaker game plan here. And that's where, Augie said about Sherald's Edict that I think could go into this deck in spot of Smallpox. Because while Smallpox it's a coat of many colors, and it does a lot of things, it unfortunately is kind of like in a situation where it doesn't feel that good, and sometimes it feels like it puts you behind more. Now, Smallpox is amazing in like a white-black deck that's running the one land that when you sacrifice it, Flags of Tarkir, where you sacrifice it, you go get a plains. It's amazing in a deck like that. In a deck like this, I don't know. Like, it used to be really good when the meta was like, wasn't as many small things. This is a card that would be really, really bad in the burn matchup where they're running like the Rex. So maybe next time I play this, I'll take out Smallpox for Sherald's Edict. There was a lot of times where we had Smallpox and I just did not want to fire this off. So I don't know how you feel about Smallpox in this deck right now. Yeah, I don't know. I still love this card. It's still one of my favorite cards of all time, but I just don't know how I feel about it right now, right? Great losses often bring only a numb shock. To truly plunge a victim into misery, you must overwhelm him with many sufferings. Radatabarik of Urborg. Yeah, I like this card a ton, but it's just very... It feels like the weakest link right now in the deck. It really does. Out of the 6 games we played today, there was very few games where I was like, I want a Smallpox right now. Even the one where we Smallpox Griff, which ended up working in our favor, I was debating if I even wanted to Smallpox there. So we could have just build Urza tokens and block. You know what I mean? So there was like moments where I was like, I don't even know if I want a Smallpox here. Ended up being the right play because they double top deck Drown and Lock. But I think it's what happened. But there's just moments here where I'm like, man, I don't know. I don't know if I want Smallpox here. I really don't know if I want Smallpox here. So yeah, I don't know. We could try another version of this without Smallpox. Wrenchmine, awesome. Wrenchmine is another one of my favorite cards of this deck. Because when you get to hit Wrenchmine for the full 2, it is very good. What is the sound of one head snapping? I originally was running this before without any Wrenchmines because unfortunately there was a time where there's just artifacts all over the place. And it seems like artifacts may have died down a little bit. And I think a 2 of is right in the sweet spot. I really do. It's bad again in game 1 against decks that are running heavy artifacts, but what are you going to do, right? Worst case is it's a 2 mana discard card spell, right? But in matchups where they're not, Yagmoth for an example, this card was super powerful. Very powerful. So it's also worth noting, I want to look at the meta real quick when it comes to Wrenchmine, because there could be an argument of putting extra Wrenchmines in the sideboard, because Wrenchmine is also very powerful against Indomitable Creativity. It's also very powerful against Murktide Regent. It's very strong against Crashing Foothills. It's strong against Omnath. Not good against Living End. So there's a lot of like big name decks that this deck, like this card is really strong against for our deck. So there is an argument for sideboard of wanting more wrench mines, but I don't think I do, because our sideboard is really tight and it's going to be very hard to find a spot for another wrench mine. One copy of Dismember, I think. Sorry, I didn't mean to close that out. One copy of Dismember, I still like in this deck a lot. This is a card I've liked as a one of in this deck ever since I've picked it up. It has just been super situational and super strong when I've needed it. It's been the get out of jail free card so many times. And today it felt good again. I mean, sure, there's matchups where you don't want this card because you're going to lose too much life. But then you sideboard it out for other cards. But there's a lot of times where this, like I said, has just been like a get out of jail free card. And I think this card is still really strong. We might get more games under our belt where we go, you know what, maybe dismember isn't really where we want to be at. And we can cross that bridge when we get to it. But even today, I still like my single copy of Dismember in the deck, like quite a bit. I still like my singleton copy of it. So Liliana, still good. Still good. Good Planeswalker. Still one of the best Planeswalkers in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, really good. We got to ult her today, which is not something I get to do very often, but we did. Her sack ability helps a lot, helps us a lot. Each player discards a card, pretty strong. Let's talk about sideboard. Break the Ice was unimportant today. However, I think Break the Ice is still... Whoops. I dropped this dog clicker. I have this dog clicker just to go on a side tangent. When you're doing like voiceover work, it's really good because it's a loud plosive. So when you mess up your line of dialogue doing voiceover, you go, and then you'll see it on your timeline when you're editing, so you know exactly where the bad take is. And then if you mess up the take again, you just 2 clicks. So now you know, and you can see where you get to the good one because you just count the plosives. And then when you get there, you know where you're at. So it's helped my editing process a lot for my other channel. As for this, it's also just a good fidget thing, something to fidget around in your fingers. So there's that benefit too. But Break the Ice, the Tron matchup is really bad for us. You got to think game 1, we have multiple cards that are just dead. Like Inquisition's really bad, Wrench Mine's really bad. Smallpox is great. But that's not the point, right? Fatal Push is really bad. So we have a lot. Funeral Charm's really bad. We have a lot of cards main deck that's really bad. And we still don't have a ton of sideboard that's good against them. But Break the Ice is really good against them. But it could also just be a different card. I guess the question is like, is the Tron matchup so bad that we need land destruction to deal with it? Or can we put something else in to kind of fight against the Break the Ice? You know what I mean? That's like where we're kind of at with Break the Ice right now. Could this be something else that is better? If so, what is it? And how bad is that Tron matchup, like where we need Break the Ice? You know what I mean? I've just, in my past, Break the Ice has just helped me against Tron. And my local meta, there's a Tron player. There's several Tron players. So like I know Tron is probably going to be at local tournament if I go to it. So I've always leaned into like bringing Break the Ice because of that. But we'll test more and see where it's at. Collective Brutality is a mainstay 2 of in this deck. I still think it is. Maybe not, but maybe. Maybe a Dampening Sphere. Yeah, Dampening Sphere could be too. Yeah, Dampening Sphere could be too. I don't have Dampening Spheres on MTGO. To be fair, I don't have this deck in MTGO. I'm doing a card hoarder rental for this. But I do have Dampening Spheres in real life. Dampening Spheres could be a 2 of. We could yeah, Augie, I like that. I always forget about Dampening Sphere being a thing, even though I was super excited about that card coming out. We could also go up to Void Mirrors, because Void Mirror is just a super strong card. So, the games that I've beaten, we'll talk about that in a second. Collective Brutality is just really solid. It's not going to come in every match, but I think the matchups you want Collective Brutality, it's really good. I also agree that I should have probably brought it in against Hammer Time. I'll duly note that for the future. I do think this card should come in against Hammer Time. You may not get the target opponent reveals their instant or sorcery, but you'll definitely get the -2/-2, which can be really strong. We have 3 copies of Leyline of the Void. There's an argument that we should go up to a 4th copy, but at the same time, like, Leyline of the Void should just... You should have Leyline of the Void for your graveyard hate. I don't like Spellbomb in the sideboard for graveyard hate. I like it main deck for Saga. Don't like it on the sideboard. There's no other black sideboard playing Notebook. Yeah, I guess I'm going down it. 8-Rack and Dredge are the 2 decks I have the most experience playing in Magic. I'm not going to say I'm a good pilot. I wouldn't even go as far to say I'm that good of a player. But those are the decks that I feel the most confident with. That's why gearing up for this tournament, they're the first 2 decks I wanted to see how they ran. I've played a ton of matches with Dredge and 8-Rack. I mean a ton. So I feel like I have a good plan of like what these decks are capable of in a way. But Leyline of the Void, I like as a 3 of. It could go up to a 4 of, honestly. The Dredge matchup and the Living In matchup is abysmal. I do mean abysmal. So I do like having Leyline of the Voids in the graveyard. I just think Leyline of the Void... I've tried Voidwalker, which is very good, but I think Leyline's better. Orcish Bowmasters. This card is an all-star. Living In is brutal. Yes. Living In is very, very, very strong against us. Like, it's probably... I wouldn't say it's one of the best decks against us, but it is insanely good against us. Orcish Bowmasters, though, is insane. This card blew me away. Now, I thought this card's going to be good for 8-Rack. The 8-Rack group I'm in on Facebook, a lot of people are wondering if this card would be good in 8-Rack. There's some back and forth a little bit on there, I think. But I didn't think how strong this card was until I saw somebody play it in the Rock. I want to pull this person up so I know their name, so you can check out their channel if you want to. Rock is back. Electric Bob 31. Electric Bob 31, this one right here. I watched them play it, which made me want to look into the rack too. And I saw them play it, and I was like, wow, Orcish Bowmasters is really strong. Like, really, really strong. So I was like, when I was putting up the rack today, I was like, I have to try Orcish Bowmasters. Could also try Relic of Progenitus. You can find it with Saga and draws you a card, or maybe Soul Guide Lantern. I haven't tried Relic because I don't own any paper relics. But I have tried Soul Guide Lantern, and Soul Guide Lantern was decent. But I liked the opening hand ley line because with like Living End, they can kill you before you can fetch anything up with they can basically kill you before you can fetch anything up with Urza Saga. Because the thing is with 8-Rack is we don't have a good way to deal with a big wide board. You know what I mean? So it's really, really hard to justify like Relic or anything like that. Like, maybe if we had like a couple board wipers, I would be more inclined to do it. But I think Leyline is just stronger for what we're doing personally. That's just my opinion. It's been the save my ass before in the past, Augie, where I've had in store play against Living End, and I just turned game 2 and 3 had opening hand Leylines, and that's like the very few times I've been able to beat Living End. But I could see definitely for sure an argument for Relic or Soul Guide Lantern, 100%. 100%. Bosch and Roll just did a video with Orcish Bowmasters. Really? But Orcish Bowmasters, oh my god, that card has just been insane. Yep, Esper Tempo. Bow to the Masters. I should probably order mine before they get super expensive, right? Is this card going to get expensive? Could do a one of since it's fetchable. Very well could do a one of. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. I like 4 lane lines. This card I have to have in the opener. Yeah, I mean, my only thing with running 3 over 4 is we do have the 1 spell bomb, but if we go like if we decide to take out the break the ice or is there something, I don't know. But this card has what blew me away today. Orcish Bowmasters blew me away. So strong in so many situations, and it also just turned our deck on to do. That's true with the Nile. Yeah, that's my reasoning to why I've had 3 ley lines in the sideboard for a while. Bowmaster is absolutely going to be expensive. That's what I think too. I think I just need to order. I have 1. I think I just need to order the other 3 before they get crazy. This card though is just bonkers good, right? It's so good. Drop it in, blows a card up. One thing is that hurts us is decks that draw a lot of cards is really good against us. So having Orcish Bowmasters just drop in and kind of hurt them for drawing cards, really strong. And 2 bodies for 1. What did I say? 8-rack is a deck of attrition that wants to 1-for-1 your opponent, or when we can, 2-for-1 them. And Orcish Bowmaster's doing that. Orcish Bowmaster's really 3-for-1ing, right? It's really 3-for-1ing. It is a stupid powerful card. Love it. Ratchet Bomb is a 2 of. I still think is a necessity for this deck. Ratchet Bomb destroys chalices. Ratchet Bomb destroys engineered explosives. Ratchet Bomb destroys Urza tokens. Ratchet Bomb destroys a lot of 1-drops really easily. I still think Ratchet Bomb is probably a must-of because I believe Chalice of the Void, if I remember right, XX abilities are 0 when they're on the board, right? What is CMC does with X? X is the mana value, represents a variable value. When you cast a spell with X and the mana cost, you choose a value for X when you cast the spell and plug that value into the spell's mana cost. Alternative mana cost of paying 1 to determine that total cost. When the spell has 2X, blah, blah, blah. The question I want to know, am I going to find, I'm not going to find the answer, am I? I want to know if it's on the field, what its mana value is. What is the CMC of an X spell on field? The X card is in casting cost. Anytime else is considered 0. That's what I thought. So a card that is notoriously good against 8-rack is Chalice of the Void. So having Ratchet Bomb blow up Chalice of the Void is really strong. And then I like it as 2 of. And then Void Mirror. Void Mirror is the tech I've been running to deal with Rhinos. Rhinos is a really strong deck against us. And it's also pretty good against Tron. I mean, you know, if they don't have the mana, they don't have the green mana to spend on something, Void Mirror helps out quite a bit. I've been able to turn 2 Void Mirror on Tron, and that really slowed them down for me. So that helped out. But it's very strong against Cascade decks. Very strong. It's also good against Living End. Not the best, but good. I will always bring it in against Living End, just in case. But also, like I said, really strong against Rhinos. So Void Mirror is pretty solid if we can get it on turn 2. There's an argument for going up more Void Mirrors, also Dampening Sphere. So there's definitely like a good amount of sideboard cards we could pack in. Ashiok Dream Renderer, I think is what it's called, is also really good in this deck for the sideboard. That was a card that I ran in the sideboard a lot for Amulet Titan. When Amulet Titan was really popular, I had someone in my locals play Amulet Titan a lot. So the Ashiok Dream Eater was just really good against that, and Valakut. So yeah, anyway, that has been today's 8-rack experience. 6-0. We only lost 2 individual games overall. So in reality, we're like 12-2 with the deck, which is really surprising. Everybody in the Facebook group for 8-rack says that this deck is dead, that it's like unplayable. Disagree. I think this deck is still pretty strong. Again, we didn't play a ton of the top meta decks. We're in practice queues. What do you expect? I still think this deck is fairly strong. I don't know if I want to run through any leagues just because I want to save some money to actually get the physical cards that I need to play whatever deck I ended up running. But I'm probably going to order the Orcish Bowmasters no matter what. How much are they right now? So I don't want to run through a league because I want to save back that money. Plus, I'll be going on vacation before the tournament, so I want to have money for vacation. I want to have money for vacation more than anything, but I also want to have money for 20. It's already up to 27. Last time I checked it, I think it was like 22. So online they're about 50 for like card hoarder for like mtgo. Holy smokes. Dude. When I got these earlier today around noon. Okay? I got these earlier today around noon to hold on. I don't want to pull up my receipt over here. For the loan. I loaned them. I didn't buy them. I loaned them. But they were under $40 a piece, I think. Let me double check. Don't hold me to that. Orcish Bowmasters was 39. They were 39. That was just 4 hours ago. They were 49. And they're up to how much? $57. They went up $17. Hold on, sorry. 62. They are up to 62. They went up 12, almost $13 in 4 hours. Holy shit. Well, you want to see something crazy? Hold on. I saw this earlier. Boom. Thanks, Bosch. Is it Bosch's fault? Can we blame Bosch? The ring. The ring is $140 a card right now. Although I think Aspiring Spike was saying it's probably going to get banned. I'm curious to see how the ring works against us. Bowmaster is shooting up like it's busted MH2 card, right? I'm probably just gonna have to order mine off TCG Player. Man, I don't want him to like skyrocket that much. I'm not gonna let the FOMO get me. I can sell something on eBay if I want to get them. I'm not too worried about it. Magic Age played it in Modern 12 days ago. Played what? The Ring or Bowmasters? But the Ring, I don't know how the Ring, like if we come across the Ring, it would do against us because they get to draw a bunch of cards. But we could potentially Bowmasters. Yeah, Bowmasters really good. But we could potentially play like, you know, our Bowmasters into this would be strong. I feel like pretty strong against the Ring. We don't have any good way to deal with the Ring when it's on the board, but don't know. Remember Solitude went from like 25 to 60 in paper? Yes. Yes, I do. Because my cousin bought all the Solitudes when the set like was in pre-order mode, and they were like, I don't know. I'd have to ask him. They weren't like stupid expensive, and now they skyrocketed. He also did the same thing with Stoneforge Mystic. He bought Stoneforge when it was like banned and everything, and they were like cheap. I don't know how much they are now, but yeah, this one Ring card I feel like is probably a problem child for us. But I don't think it's the end of the world. You know what I mean? I'm kind of like in the middle with it. We'll have to see. We'll have to see if we come across it. But I'm going to bounce for today. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. Augie, thank you for the $2 super chat. I super appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. I know Modern isn't really like my thing. I know I'm normally in Pauper. But like I said, I'm going to be playing some Modern pretty often because I want to prep for this tournament. I'm not going into this tournament to really like expect to win or anything. Appreciate the stream / have a great evening. Smash the like button. Yeah. Thank you, Lotus. You also have a wonderful evening. I'll probably catch you in the Discord. I I don't think, like, I'm not going into this tournament expecting to win. I don't care to win, honestly. I just want to go have fun. But I also don't want to go in a year behind on Modern. You know what I mean? And I want to go in and I want to be semi-competitive. I don't want to just be blown out of the water. But because I haven't played Modern in a year until today, I want to, one, see if my two favorite decks are up to snuff anymore, right? I want to see if they're up to snuff anymore. And then two is I want to see if like I want to feel for the I want to feel for the format, you know what I mean? See what it's like right now. And also, last but not least, is it's fun to do like prep work for a tournament, right? It's fun. So I want to do that. Also, because I have my loan account back up, I do want to check out Pioneer some. So maybe check that out a little bit. So we'll see about that. But I'm still going to be mainly Pauper, just as a heads up. I'm still going to be mainly Pauper. I will not go probably below 3 Pauper streams a week for the time being. After the tournament, I'll probably go right back up to doing more Pauper. But I hope you guys will enjoy the content either way. And I hope I'll see y'all later. If you want to support the channel, consider subscribing, liking, sharing, or commenting on the content. All those go a long way in helping the channel out. You can also become a member. Becoming a member is a great way to support the channel. It's $1 a month. It gets you access to the members-only Discord server, which has been popping off. I'm super excited about that. You can see a ton of crazy, awesome deck lists in there. And also, you get custom emotes. Your name turns green. You get your name at the beginning and the end of the stream in a scroll. You get a badge next to your name for $1. $1. It is a holler. So consider becoming a member. You can do so by clicking the link in the description down below. That will send you to the membership tab. I also think there's probably a button somewhere on the screen that allows you to become a member too. But just in case, it is in the description down below. And I will hopefully see y'all tomorrow at my normalish time. I know this isn't my normal time that I stream, but work schedule's been a little weird this week. So tomorrow, hopefully I'll be back to the normal slot, and we are playing Pauper tomorrow. So thank you, White Lotus, for the GGs. Everybody have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll hopefully catch you again in the future. Bye.